Hey, my name is Courtney. Today I wanted to share something that's a little different, but something that is highly requested, and that is my booth for my Magnolia events that I have done in the past with my previous shop. I had the privilege to go to Magnolia a few times and set up a booth, and it was just an amazing experience, and I learned so much. But a big part of that is building a booth, and I know that you might want to build a vendor booth for a similar vendor fair. And so I wanted to give you a behind the look of how we built this booth and break down the entire process of what the booth is made of and serve this as inspiration and some ideas of how to make your booth stand out and reflect your business in a beautiful way. Something I wanted to note is this isn't for just a pop-up tent that you buy and set up on the weekend. This was a tent that was set up by the host of the event. It was rented, professionals set it up. So I wanted to clarify that so that you're not trying to do this exact same method on a pop-up tent that might be flimsy, that would blow away in the wind. And as always, be safe. If you haven't worked with wood before, this might not be the first project to work on. I have my brother-in-law Eric to thank for this entire design, the ingenuity of it, how it packs up and fit in our car. He did everything. I cannot thank him enough. I just drew it out. He brought it to life, and I'm just giving him all the credit. And just a heads up, this in no way is associated with Magnolia. I had an opportunity with them a few years ago, and so I know that there are so many vendor events all over the country, all over the world, and I wanted to provide a helpful insight of what we did so that you can take it and translate it in your own way. So let's get into how this whole structure was built, the ins and outs of it. I'm gonna go to my iPad, show you, just kind of draw it out and walk you through the entire process, kind of give you all the details that I can. Okay, so I'm gonna be talking and drawing at the same time. Let's hope this goes well. My idea for this booth was to be a minimal space that allowed the products to shine and be there, but also make it more boutique-like where people could come in and we can make those connections. A beautiful thing about events like this is that it creates that connection between the maker and the customer, and it really creates a relationship more than just a one and done relationship. So something we wanted to do was create space for people to come into our booth, have conversation, try on the product, see how it fit in their hands, and really have an experience more than just passing by. So we did that by creating two side walls and a back wall. And this created that homey, come on in feeling. We really saw the fruits of this by meeting so many amazing people, having real conversations with them throughout the weekends that we were at Magnolia. And I really think the design of this booth made the opportunity for that to be possible. These gray poles are the existing tent poles. And what we did was we added panels, about 4 of them. So we built the 4 panels out of plywood. The way that they were sturdy was by using a long 2x4 that spanned the entire width of the space in the booth. So you can see it spanned the entire space of the booth right here. The way we connected it was, this is a panel from the side view, and then we added one space board and then another board. So we had this space board, and this was connected by nails. The 2x4 was secured to the booth with metal clamps that were adjustable that look like this. So we attached these metal clamps to the 2x4 piece of wood and then attached it to the booth. And then the side panel walls securely attached on top of this 2x4 to make sure that everything was sturdy. On the back of each panel was a 1x2 board that had a lip that would line up the next panel and screw it into place to keep it tight. After the first board was up, we used another 1x2 board that ran the entire length of the panels, and we attached the panels to this with screws. This longer board at the top of the side panels allowed us to zip tie the side panels to the top pole with a zip tie and made it extra sturdy. So after all of the side panel walls were up and secure, the backs were overlapping, everything was screwed in place, we added the shelves. The shelves we made out of just scrap pieces of wood that fit the size that we needed for our products. And our products were lightweight, so we didn't need anything too sturdy. But we built them with just scrap pieces of wood. We pre-drilled the holes into the walls and then secured them with a wing nut on the back to make sure that it had an easy installation. So throughout the entire process, we're pre-assembling this at home, labeling everything, taking notes, taking photos to make sure that installation on setup day was pretty smooth. So let's talk about the back wall. The back wall was similar. We're made up of 4 plywood panels. This is a little thicker, probably about 1/2 inch thick plywood. And with these walls, we wanted it to be sturdy because we were leaving space. I think we left about 3 feet in the back to make sure that we could have back stock, our bags, whatever we needed to store in the back to make sure that the area was clean of clutter. So for the back wall, we did 1x2 natural boards that were spaced apart in a way that would make sure the back wall looked like it was 1 panel instead of 4. So we spaced it to where the overlap would be covered by one of these slats. We assembled the slats using wood glue and nails. So since this was a little different than the side walls, what we did was we made these brackets for the back that were braces that were at an angle, and it lined up to the back of the booth where we could use zip ties to hold it up. And I promise you this was extremely sturdy because the back wall itself had a thicker base than the side panels. So it had already that firm structure to stand on. And then we used the brackets to kind of lean it up and make sure that it was standing firm using the back of the tent. The back wall fit together very similar to the side panel walls, and we just used a 1x2 board that spanned the entire length of all 4 panels and screwed those into place when it came time to set up. For the logo, my sweet friend Rachel cut out our logo with her CNC machine. Used an MDF board to make it a smooth finish by sanding and finishing it off with some black spray paint. We attached it to the back panel with Velcro and it held up perfectly. We just made sure that we installed it once we got to the booth to set up so nothing happened to the logo. We finished off our entire booth with a rug, a mirror, some styling with some plants, some vinyl on the wall that was helpful for people. And of course, we had things like business cards and discounts for people. And it was all around an incredible experience and time for our small business. Hopefully this video was helpful for you, giving you a little behind the scenes of how we built our Magnolia booth so that you can take it for any vendor fair that you're working on next. If you're interested in any more tips on how to do a vendor fair as a small business, then let me know below. That's all for this video. I'll see you next week with a new sewing tutorial. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them below. I would love to work it out with you and see if I can help.